In today's Dogcast, I have with me a very special guest, Jen, and we're going to be talking about everything to do with dogs and social media. Jen, what are we going to talk about?
We are going to talk about social media, the dark side of social media, but also how it can bring people together.
And we also have a social experiment that you guys can participate in, so make sure you stay tuned. In 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Toronto Dogcast.
Hi.
With me today I have Jen.
Hello.
And Jen and I are going to be talking about everything to do with social media and dogs, because obviously this is a Dogcast. Let's just start off with this little guy here, Horton. So you're Horton's mom.
Horton's mom.
And Horton has a massive following on social media. Instagram, what's it got, like 32,000 followers?
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, look, I got my first celebrity.
Yeah, barely. I
was always like, one day I'm going to get a celebrity on my podcast, but this is pretty darn close. And I'm actually glad that it's a dog. So what I thought I'd talk to you about first is just the whole phenomenon of Instagram specifically. Obviously there's other social media outlets, but Instagram and dogs, they should have called it Dogstagram or something like that. Yeah. Dogs and Instagram specifically. Obviously there's lots of other social media outlets, but Instagram seems like a place that's made for dogs.
Yeah.
Like, and it's crazy. So a lot of people have Instagram accounts just for their dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And their dogs have more followers than they do.
Yeah. Like, no one wants to know about my life, but everybody wants to know about Horton's life. It's like the strangest thing. Like, I don't feel bad about it. Like, I'd love to know about the lives of other dogs too. Like, it's just, they're so cute and cuddly. Who wouldn't want to know, right? Yeah.
And I think it's really well suited in a couple really specific ways. First off, Instagram's all about pictures. It's very visual.
Yeah.
And dogs do cute things like constantly. And other dog owners, when they see a dog doing a cute thing, they go,
they're like, oh, it's so cute. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be natural for people to want to see those types of things all day long, every day. When did you start his account?
When we first got him in 2015. So it's been about 3 years or so.
Okay, so when he was a puppy?
When he was a puppy, yeah.
That's the other thing. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were going to get a puppy, and I said, well, make sure you have all the gear. Like, get whatever camera, get memory cards, like, set everything
upgrade your phone.
Because it's one of those things where they grow so fast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I don't think I have enough puppy pictures, but I already have, like, thousands. It's crazy.
Absolutely. And it's so much fun.
Yeah.
To be like, oh my God, look, he's doing this for the first time. Oh my God, look, he's eating his paw.
Hey, stop.
Okay. He must have been like a little, like this big when he was a puppy.
Like 5 pounds. He was like this tiny, like a little potato.
Yeah. And so what prompted you to say, okay, I'm going to make a social media account for my dog?
Well, I started sharing a ton of pictures on my own account, and everyone's just like, stop, like, there's too many. So I just started his own account, because I'm like, okay, well, I'll find some other people that, like, want to follow dogs and stuff and stop bombing my friends with just dog pictures.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that happens a lot, where people are just like, they have a personal account, and then they get a dog, and then it's just like, next thing you know, it's all Horton all the time.
Yep.
He's been, like, pretty much growing in popularity for years now.
I got really serious about it in January of this year. So yes, it was January of this year that I actually changed the Instagram handle. I thought, okay, like this, I'm going to try to make this a thing. Like I'm really going to try and like up my Instagram game, if people, as people call it.
Right.
And really try to grow his base and kind of, yeah, grow his popularity and interact with people and find other people to kind of follow and interact with.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing too. A lot of people don't really appreciate or understand just how much time and effort social media takes.
Oh, it does. It's like a part-time job after my full-time job.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the really interesting thing is that they can change the rules whenever they want.
Oh, yes. Instagram with the whole like chronological versus non-chronological feed, like the algorithm that you have to beat now to kind of grow and things like that. It's ever changing. You kind of have to always adapt.
And it seems like every time they change the algorithm, it translates into, well, you have to spend more time.
Essentially, or spend more ad dollars. That's another big thing. When they started rolling out like, oh, you can pay for ads and stuff like that, it started becoming like, oh, like, does that mean I have to pay for ads to continue growing my base? Or like, it just kind of became a struggle. Like, yeah, you can never really beat them, I don't think.
They're very clever, and they do understand how to manipulate people into, okay, we want people to do X and let's do that.
Yeah.
I had a very similar story with Mosley. So I got Mosley in 2007, and that's when Facebook was really starting to become, common.
Big, yeah.
I remember looking at it thinking like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why would I do it? But then I found I was emailing pictures of Mosley to all my friends all the time. And it was like really cumbersome, and I was always like forwarding stuff and the rest of it. And so I think social media is a great tool for sharing that type of experience with your friends and your family, especially if they're in different parts of the world.
Yes, for sure.
Like I have friends who live in Singapore, and they knew Mosley because they lived in Canada for a while.
Right.
Big shout out to Chantel. Yeah. So they love still still being involved with the dogs' lives. Yeah, I think it's a great form of being able to share things. But yeah, I think it can also be a ton of work.
It is. So, getting the pictures, kind of staging things, like buying clothes and things for him. It's just, it is a lot of work. Like usually on the weekends, it's all kind of like one day it's like, okay, I'm going to do a bunch of these pictures and think up a bunch of these captions to plan for the next week. Because I work a 9 to 5, right? Like there's no way that I can do all of this without, actually doing some pre-planning.
It's one of those things where you almost have to bank it up.
Yes, I do that sometimes too. I'm just like, okay, this day is going to be like 4 hours of pictures and then I'll be good for 2 weeks. Things like that. Like if I know I'm going to be busy and stuff, like I sometimes have to do that. Right.
So the dark side of social media. So we talked a little bit about how much time and effort and literal work goes into social media.
Yep.
But when we're talking about dogs, I always thought dogs is going to be one of those areas where you're less susceptible. Like, it's not like you're talking about politics or gender issues or anything like that. You're just talking about dogs. But people get very heated, very passionate. You would figure that, at least I do anyway, that social media and dogs would be almost a safe place where the haters would just melt because they're like, oh my God, look at like how cute he is and whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a real dark side to social media and the haters, the trolls. Like, do you find any of that?
I guess I want to say we're kind of lucky in that, like, I guess we haven't really gotten like real hate, like really bad hate, but I do know of like situations on other Instagram accounts where, the hate has been unreal. Like I've had to block people because they've been making nasty comments. People saying like, "Oh, you're abusing your dog. What are you doing?" And just
because you're putting clothes on them.
Yeah, or like
that's abuse.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, honey, there are worse things that people do to their I don't know if they don't know or something, but people have very strong opinions on certain things, and like when you butt heads with these other people that have strong opinions about certain things, it just blows up, and it just
Yeah, dog lovers are very passionate.
Yeah.
And commenting on somebody else's dog is akin to, not the same, easy,
similar,
akin to commenting about somebody's
child.
Exactly. So what you're feeding them, you know, how you train them, or how you even refer to them.
Yep.
I've had people take offense to, you know, the fact that I use a leash instead of a harness or something like that.
Yeah.
So people get really offended really quickly. And social media has unfortunately evolved into this place where people go at each other's throats. And it's not even necessarily about, you know, sharing each other's opinion. It's about being right. People want to be right.
Be right, yeah. But, I mean, people need to understand, like, what's right for your dog is not going to be right for someone else's dog, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, it's just one of those things. Like you said, same thing as politics or, like, other kind of hot topics. Like, it's the same thing with dogs and how you raise them and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. So how do you, so you mentioned like blocking thing, but for those people out there who are experiencing possibly some of this negativity, what recommendations would you have for them to deal with some of this hate or trolling or whatever you want to call it?
I mean, I want to say don't let it get to you, but obviously, like, sometimes it does get to you. I mean, I just want to say trust in yourself that you're making the right decisions for your dog, right? Like, these people don't know you personally or know your dog personally. They see them on social media, but that doesn't really know, you know, they don't really know what the situation is, right? So just trust that you're doing what you feel is best for your dog, I think.
Yeah. A note to anyone out there: as soon as you are putting content on the internets,
on the interwebs,
okay, you're opening yourself up to criticism.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if you start to become popular. You know what I mean? So you got 32,000 followers for Horton. People are going to be extra critical just because it's a numbers game. Like, there's going to be people out there out of that 32,000 who don't like his outfit, maybe. Or, you know, some other choice that you made in terms of what to post.
Yep.
Or the caption.
Or the caption. So I'm very sensitive. Well, not sensitive, but like, so we try to make his account as kind of funny, like funny captions and things like that. But I'm very careful to not try to post something that could be found offensive just because I want to, you know, avoid that whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So very sensitive about that.
Yeah.
Try.
So my advice would be just ignore it. And don't engage.
Don't engage. Yeah.
As soon as when I first started my YouTube account, I started to engage with people who had some nasty things to say to try and build bridges. I was like, oh, look, I can reason with this person. Sure, let me just explain my point or explain what I was trying to convey or whatever. Right. No, it just, if anything, like lit
fuel
the
to the
fuse.
fire.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, just feeds the trolls.
Yeah. So what I've learned to do is just like block, report you to YouTube for abuse.
Yep.
And then move on.
Yep.
You know, and try not to even read it if I get too far into it. That's what I do. I'm sure you get this a lot. You know, having such a very strong following for Horton on his social media account, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be asking the same types of questions. Do you get that a lot? Like a lot of people saying like,
kind of,
how do you do this? And how do you do that? I mean, anybody can Google how to grow your Instagram account, right?
Right. Yeah.
So in terms of maybe give us a day in the life of, so for people to build empathy, right? So this is the other thing is people don't really understand. Like, for example, a podcast I thought was going to be relatively easy to do. No, it's not. There's about 60 to 70 hours worth of work into each podcast.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. So why don't you give those really hungry Instagram dog lovers out there, a day in the life of what it takes to run an Instagram account with 32,000 followers.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So we do kind of have a daily routine. Like I kind of have a daily routine that's kind of set up now. So like every day we wake up, I film like a daily, like him out on a walk kind of thing and just general commentary about what's going on in that day. So I film all of this before I go to work. So like the walk in the morning, he has a little segment where he eats like his daily carrot, which is kind of his thing. So every day he eats the carrot and comments on like
how good it is,
how good it tastes, or like reviews like shredded carrots or reviews a different snack. So I film that in the morning. I know it's ridiculous.
No, it's great. Like, here's the thing. People don't actually get to laugh enough. If you think about how much stress and pressure people are under, and I mean, one of the pitfalls of social media is it turns into a popularity game.
Yeah.
Where, you know, people feel like if they don't get the likes, if they don't get the shares, if they don't get the views, somehow that they take it personally.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, I'm not a very popular person or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I fell into that trap pretty early on of the similar kind of like, oh no, like no one's liking my picture. Like, is this bad? Like, you know, all that kind of insecurity. And then as we kind of grew, like I started getting these comments like, oh my God, I just love seeing Horton every day and his daily carrot thing. Or like, oh, you've brightened my day so much. Like sending love from Germany or sending love from, you know, crazy places. And I'm just like, you know what? It really isn't like, it's great to have people like your photos, but in reality, you know, all the love and support that you're getting and the lives you're touching halfway around the world, it really just means a lot to me. Right? So like, I'm always trying to engage with these people who send me messages as much as I can.
Yeah.
You know, like, just because, like, if you're taking the time to send me a message, like, such a sweet message, like, I want to send you something back. Like, I started sending people, like, cards and stuff because they were just like, oh, we really want a piece of Horton. And I'm like, give me your address. So I send these people, like, a little picture or something of him, like, some little cards that we made.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Yeah, so I'm just like, it does mean a lot, like, when I get those messages, because it makes the kind of the work and stuff kind of worth it too, right?
Oh my God. Okay, yeah. Social experiment number two. Okay, you guys ready? Too many social experiments? I don't care.
I'm down.
My podcast. I can do whatever I want to do. So social experiment number two. If you actually are following somebody, whether it be a dog or a person, and they brighten your day.
Yep.
Make sure to not just put an emoji or whatever. Yeah. Like actually if you take the time to send that person a note of appreciation,
right.
And it could be 1 or 2 lines. It doesn't have to be an essay about how they changed your life or whatever. That little piece of support, it really does mean a lot.
It really does. It really does. Some people have sent me messages in Thai or in German a lot, strangely. I've copy and pasted to translate because I want to know what they're saying, right? Like, yeah. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I mean, I reply in English because I'm like, oh, yeah. But still, like, I try to make the effort to, like, at least reply and figure out, you know, what it is, right?
I guess before we move on, we should give everybody, I'll do the magic and like that and put his what's his Instagram?
At Horton McSnorton.
At this. It'll be right here, magically. Yeah, so take the time to send your little note here or there, and it does make a difference. I always tell people all the time, I have 1 or 2 people who always comment on my videos. And they say the nicest, sweetest things, and it just means the world to me.
Yeah, like
because
someone took the time.
It's really, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of effort to put this stuff together. And it's really nice to get that little bit of a you know, here's a little bit of support.
A little bit of feedback and a little bit of support.
Like you're making a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah.
I think that's the end of it. And I think that's another great piece of advice for people, whether it be you want to start a YouTube channel or a podcast about dogs or cats or whatever you want, or an Instagram account because you got a brand new puppy, which, by the way, I would 100% do. If I got a puppy, I would have an Instagram account
Instantly.
without it wouldn't even.
You got to get it before you even get the puppy. That's commitment.
Well, here's the thing, because names are very hard to come by. So let's say I wanted to have one for Mosley, and Mosley's tag or handle.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my god! Did I just show how old I was there?
Don't worry, I'm catching up to the times.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Handle. So if Mosley's handle was taken. And that's what you're planning on naming your puppy. Yeah. Yeah. So you do have to plan ahead.
Well, I mean, you can. There's probably tons of Mosley's account out there, but you can like Mosley _the dog or something. Like, there's always things you can do to like
915.
Yeah, or like 416 or something. Mosley 416.
The real Donald Trump.
The real Mosley, the pup.
The Mighty Mighty Mouse. Should start one. If you're gonna do it for the right reasons. Meaning, do it because you want to do it. Do it because you're passionate about doing it. In our case, we're doing it for fun, but we're also, you know, you guys are helping each other through your social media efforts and the reach that you're able to get. So as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, it's really going to be a much more fun thing to do.
Yeah, because like, I mean, it kind of just gives you a genuine engagement with other people, right? Like if you're that person that just wants to like have fame and fortune and make a ton of money off your dog because of Instagram, you could do it too, but like your engagement with other people, the connections you make are not going to be as genuine as if, let's say, you start an Instagram account because you wanted to share your dog's life with other people as well, right? I guess it's just the level of engagement and stuff that you're getting as well.
The other thing too that's fantastic about social media, and if you're getting a puppy, having an Instagram account, is you're going to have so much to look back on. I have hundreds and hundreds of pictures of Mosley, and I wish I had more.
Yeah, it's never enough.
It's never
Puppy
enough.
pictures are never enough.
Well, they grow so fast.
I know, yeah. They're instantly just like, how in like 2 weeks are you now like double
They go from like that.
Yeah.
And then a month later, they're like that. And then, you know, 3 months later. And then before you know it, they're full grown, like Dawson, but they still have the puppy mentality.
Yeah.
Which that guy's a big sweetie.
I know. Oh my God, right? Like,
we cuddled and everything. And I tried to steal him. So Mel, watch out. Keep your eye on Dawson if I'm around. I might take him. You know, it's one of those dogs you just fall in love with like really quickly.
He's a real life Scooby-Doo.
He is.
Yeah, I know,
He's like all goofy. And gangly.
Huge ears.
And he doesn't know like how big he is. And he tries to sit on you. Oh my God. He's so cute. Yeah. Amazing. All right. So there are some social media tips. Now, I really want to get into, and this is the reason why I was dying to have you on. Obviously, talking about, you know, minor celebrities like Horton is a lot of fun. But the purpose of this podcast and my YouTube channel is to really look at the other side, because social media can also be a very powerful tool for positivity. And it could bring people together instead of pushing them apart. And that's what this podcast is all about. Now, I sat down with one of the six-pack, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, Mel, and her and I sat down. We talked about a lot of stuff, including the history and stuff. And I got to say, I was blown away. I was really, really impressed with what you guys have done. So, and this is going to be an example for other people, I think, to see what can happen when you look at social media and say, hey, we can use this for something awesome and really powerful and meaningful and bring people together instead of separating them apart. So why don't we talk about this group? Who started it? What's the name of it? Who started it? How long has it been around? It's fairly recent.
It's fairly recent. So we call ourselves, I guess, the Six Pack Dogs. And I guess for me, I want to say I kind of ran into this group by accident. So Mel was having a birthday party for Dawson, her dog. And so we've seen each other a few times at Trinity Bellwood. So she invited me to her birthday party at like the doggy playground or whatever. And it turned out that a lot of the people there, they already knew each other. I was kind of like the new person that's come and said, hey, hi, everybody. And after that, I kind of got invited to this chat group. And I think that's how kind of it organically... I got involved with this group of people, and then it kind of organically turned into, hey, let's hang out with each other. Hey, what's going on next weekend? Let's go out for a coffee with our dogs and just get to know each other. And then it turned into like, hey, like, why don't we make this into a thing? Like, we'll call ourselves the Six Pack Dogs. Right. Anybody that wants to hang out with us, give us a shout. Like, we have a shared calendar of events and things like that that's going on in the city. And we always try to meet up with each other and just kind of interact and have fun, like talk about dogs and like have a drink or, you know, go for a pack walk and things like that.
Your chat group was on Instagram?
It was on Instagram, yeah. It is on Instagram, yeah.
It is on Instagram. Yeah. Okay, so it started off with just like a few people who knew each other or who knew each other's dogs.
Who knew each other's dogs. So everybody knows everyone's dog names, but like I'm the worst for human names, right? It took me a little bit to remember everyone's name, but I mean, I feel like a lot of dog people have the same problem.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There are people in my building, I've known their dogs for years. I know everything about their dogs and when their birthday is and stuff. But for the life of me...
Can't remember the name of it? Yeah. Nope.
It's like, I don't know your name. The phenomenon of knowing other people's dogs or knowing other people through their dog's name.
Yep.
So I know Buster... But I don't know Buster's owner's parents' names at all.
It's just like, oh, you're Buster's mom, or you're Buster's dad, or you're his human. That's how I've heard people. Yeah.
Some people say it.
Yep.
So there was already a few on Instagram in this chat group, and then so how many people did it kind of start with?
I think like about 10 or 15 or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big group.
Kind of. Yeah, but like. The thing I love about it is that everyone is so different, right? Like there's it's not just a bunch of Frenchies in a group talking, right? It's like a Sheltie and like there's a Italian Greyhound and like a Terrier, like it just, everyone has different experiences and different kind of things to discuss about their certain breed. And so you learn a lot of things about other breeds as well when we're chatting. So
it's not just small dogs.
No, like Dawson's huge, right? He's a Boxy, right? Like he's huge. Who else is big? We have, there's Milo, a Shiba, kind of medium-sized dog.
Okay.
So cute. Yeah, so it's just such a range.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you find, and now I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I got a bit of a pet peeve with people who are, I have a small dog, I will only socialize my dog with other small dogs, and it's prolific. I find a lot of it. Yeah. Do you find that at all?
A little bit. I feel like it might be because of, like, people kind of have like, if they have a small dog, people can have, like, an inherent fear of larger dogs hurting their dog. But, like, that's not true. Like, it's real. You should see him and Dawson play. Like, they are best friends. Like, he is, like, this big. Dawson's humongous. They just... Yeah. But size doesn't matter. Like, they're just so good friends. Such good friends.
Exactly. Wouldn't it be awesome if people saw each other the same way dogs do?
I know, right?
Just like they don't care about what breed or size or how old or whatever. They're just like, hey, your dog, do you want to be buddies?
Yeah. You want to play? You want to play? You want to be my friend? Give me the pet.
Do you want to slip my
Let's go wrestle. That would be the best.
Yeah. Meg and I were talking about things that we can learn from our dogs, in terms of, look, are we listening? And if you haven't seen that podcast, it's a good one.
Yep.
Meg is
amazing.
she's a fantastic person. And whether you believe in psychic abilities or whatever, there's some definite positive messages in there in terms of, look, we can learn a lot from our dogs.
Yeah, yeah. Even just slowing down and like trying to understand what's happening. Like if they're having anxiety, like just kind of thinking like, okay, like what would cause my dog anxiety? Like how can I help him or her?
Yeah, they don't hold grudges. They're not ambitious in terms of like, look, I need a bigger doghouse.
Yeah.
You know,
I need a new bone. Mine is worn down.
yeah. And I mean, come on, like I only have 15 bags of dog treats in the bank.
Is that not enough?
You know,
Yeah.
They could care less about any of that kind of stuff. And they are very happy with very little. And only the really important things matter, like family matters, you know, their friends matter, you know, being social, having fun, like all those things. It's just a very carefree, carefree existence.
If that was all we had to worry about, that would be great.
Back to the six-pack. So you guys started on Instagram in a chat group. You'd met up, large variety of dogs, lots of different backgrounds of people. And this is where I really, truly believe social media can bring people together who may not have
Otherwise.
Yeah. Right? Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But the dogs can bring people together.
Yeah.
So it started off very dog-centric, talking about, you know, dogs and getting together for walks and stuff like that.
Yeah. We all just kind of found each other and just like...
It happened so organically.
Yeah. And like the thing that's great is that everyone is so unique. Like it's not just a big group of Frenchies.
Okay. When did you make the decision to say, okay, let's make this a thing?
I don't know. I can't remember who actually decided to make this a thing. I think it's our friend Carol. She was like, you know, we all talk and everything. Like, why don't we just make an Instagram account for us? We'll post all the fun adventures and things we have. We'll create a shared Google Calendar so everyone can put their birthdays and like any dog events and stuff that are going on. And we can all just kind of meet up and be like that group of people that like, hey, like, guys, if anyone wants to meet up, like send us a message, like we'll share a calendar. Like we're really just a group of people that like love to get together and just hang out and like do dog things.
And be social.
Guess
what? Social media.
Actually be social, not just behind your phone screen or computer screen. Let's go out and have a coffee and like talk dog things and have our dogs play together. Like,
yeah, for sure.
They all just love to play together now. Like they've seen each other like multiple times at parties. Like we had a Halloween party with everyone.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah, I think if you're super passionate about your dog, or even if you aren't super passionate about your dog, but you want to create opportunities for socialization, that's a fantastic you know, approach. So you decide to make it a thing and maybe, you know, make it more formal in terms of like, okay, let's brand ourselves and like have a cool name and stuff like that and get together. So you guys get together once a month, or how often do you get together?
We really rely on the shared calendar that we do have. So like everyone puts in like if they're aware of some sort of dog event or some sort of even pet friendly thing. We'll stick it on the calendar and then kind of like people mention like, hey, who's going to this thing on the weekend? And then we all kind of coordinate meeting up at a certain time at the certain event and just hang out. Yeah. So, I mean, there's something on the calendar every single weekend. And it really depends like, hey, who's available to go do this? Like, it's really enough. It's, you know, we're not trying to be like really formal with it. Like, okay, this is an official event everyone has to go to. It's just, hey, who's available? Let's go hang out. Yeah. Sort of thing.
So if you're around.
If you're around, like, yeah, let's go do this thing together.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Now, what I was really intrigued by is how it started off being like pretty dog centric, and then it turned out to be, okay, we can actually provide support for each other.
Yeah.
So tell me how that came about, or maybe some stories that you have?
I mean, it kind of starts with like talking about dog things, right? Like just advice on like what to do about certain training things, or like just sharing kind of dog experiences. And then you naturally just start talking about your own life, right? And just kind of like if someone's going through an issue or anything, just kind of advice on a personal level, not just like dog related things. It just kind of, it naturally turns into from dog things into kind of personal things, because you build that level of comfort with the people in the group, and you end up trusting these people and be like,
right.
okay, like not only are our dogs our friends, we are now friends, like
right.
we can talk about these things now.
I think there's an inherent trust that is built over time when you're, you know, communicating with people, you're hanging out with people. And then I also think that dog lovers look at other dog lovers in a way that's a bit different from the average person. They're a little bit more trustworthy.
A little bit, yeah, because like you have that connection already. Like being a dog lover, like there's certain things that you know that you've dealt with that I know I've dealt with, like picking up poop or like picking up vomit, things like that. That I'm like, I know that we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So there's empathy.
Yeah.
So it turned into not just a dog social group, but also a support group for the people that are involved.
Yeah.
So that's the really amazing part, because in these days of technology being completely pervasive, having that type of emotional support is harder and harder to find these days.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's like, it's so hard to meet people nowadays, just in general. Like even like you're working your 9 to 5 or whatever kind of hours you work.
Yeah.
When do you really have time, and where can you really go to like genuinely meet like-minded people, right? It's just so hard. So having social media helps, but then the challenge with social media is, well, you're always behind a screen. So this being like, okay, we started as a social media kind of networking thing, turned into kind of, no, let's actually hang out with each other over the weekends and meet each other and kind of talk and just talk about life, just your own personal life and kind of challenges you're going through, things like that.
Yeah, and that's a really good point that you make, especially when you get older and your career starts to really take up a lot of your time, so on and so forth. You know, making new friends. I mean, as people who are, let's say, a little bit more mature, I can only speak for myself. It's very difficult to. Can I make friends at like, you know, when I'm in my 30s and 40s? Yeah, so it's really difficult.
It's like that whole thing, like, oh, no new friends thing as like a catchphrase thing. Like, it's not just a joke. Like, it's actually like, oh, no new friends, because it's just hard to make new friends, right? It's not just like a saying.
Do you have any stories of some of the incidents or some of the occasions when, you know, you guys were really there for each other?
A story about the support and stuff. So we do have a member in the group that recently got diagnosed with a mass on her kind of thigh. She's a little pug, Miss Pickles the pug. So she got surgery to remove it. They did a test and it wasn't cancerous, thank God. But so, you know, medical bills can be crazy expensive, right? So on the Six Pack Dogs Instagram, we decided to hold an auction. So we reached out, like everyone with their own Instagram accounts, we reached out to all these brands and stuff that we work with and said, hey, we have a friend that's kind of going through something. Would you mind donating a product or something? And then, you know, we got so many donations from, you know, so many different brands, from like bow ties, like balms and food and things like that. Wow. Yeah. So we ended up running an auction on the Six Pack Dogs Instagram. So every day, we would post like 3 things saying like, hey, you know, these things are live for bidding. Like all proceeds go towards Miss Pickles to try to help her with her medical bills. So it was really actually a success. Like we auctioned off all the products and we reached our goal. I think I can't remember. I think it was about $2,000 towards her medical bills. And thankfully, like all these companies were willing to help us with this. But again, like that's another example. Sorry, I just thought of this.
No, absolutely. I'll edit this part and put it in the other part.
Yeah, I just thought this. I'm like, oh no, that's amazing.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah, so then I'm like, it was a great opportunity for like us to like do the outreach, right? And also help a friend out with like this news and her surgical bills.
See, now that is amazing, because when you're going through any type of serious health issue with your dog, I cannot express to you how traumatic and upsetting and nerve-wracking all of that is. So to have that support group and not just to be there for you guys, but to also say, hey, look,
let's gather, let's combine forces and like try to do something to help her. Not just like emotionally, obviously we're there to help her there, right? But the reality of life is, you know, pets cost money, like especially surgeries. This was kind of a major surgery too. So we thought, okay, like all of us have our own brands and things that we work with on social media. Let's kind of combine forces and try to do something good and try to help with this, because she's a dear friend. Like we love her.
Yeah, absolutely. And because all dog owners understand that feeling in the pit of your stomach when something is wrong with your dog.
Right.
And if there's something that you can do to fix that or to alleviate that stress and pressure. So you didn't just try, you did.
We did, yeah, we did. At first we thought, oh man, like we don't know if this is going to be successful, or we don't know if, we didn't know if people would go for it. Because honestly, like we hadn't seen that many accounts or kind of auction things. Like I hadn't seen any personally. So we were all kind of thinking like, oh no, like is this going to work? But we were surprised at how successful it was. Like people were very on top of like bidding, like, okay, like I want this and this, and knowing that it goes towards a good cause. I feel like it's a little more interactive than, let's say, just setting up a GoFundMe page, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is actually interacting with these people and accounts, and like you get some products and stuff in return, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody benefits, and the most important thing is that that dog and that person, you made them feel better. I mean, I don't want to speak for them.
Yeah.
So, do you want to say who it was, or is that confidential?
No, that's fine. It's Marge and Miss Pickles the pug.
Miss Pickles the pug. And how's she doing now?
She's great. She's recovering really well. Like her scar, I think, is pretty fully healed up. Okay. But yeah, she was out with us on the Halloween party and everything. Like she's doing great. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. Yeah. I think when the whole social media and the positive impact really came home for me is when I went to go work with a dog at the Niagara Falls Humane Society. His name was Joe. And he had been there for almost a year. And they were having a really hard time getting him a home. He kept on getting returned because he had some issues. And I went down there and worked with him. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make a video about this guy. And I got a call from the director of the Niagara Falls Humane Society, and she said, look, we're really thinking about euthanizing him because we can't find him a home and there's just nobody interested and the rest of it. And I was like, forget this. I'm going to make a YouTube video. I'm going to share it with as many people as I possibly can. And 3 weeks later, that dog had a home.
Yes. I mean...
And right there, it hits you.
Yeah. Like you made a huge impact on this dog's life. Right?
And when you can see it in those types of tangible terms, that's when it really hit me that, okay, this whole YouTube or social media thing, it's a joke, but actually, wait a minute.
You can really do something good.
You can do something really positive if you're really like putting some effort into, this is what I really want to do. I really want to help dogs. I really want to help people who have dogs. And I think what you guys are doing is exemplary. Like, I think it's just awesome.
Right.
Here's my idea, and let me know what you think.
Okay.
Because I think what you guys have done, is very inspiring, but it's also relatively simple. Like, it's not I shouldn't say simple in terms of like you guys have accomplished a lot in a relatively short period of time, and it happened very organically and it happened naturally. It's not like you set out to like, okay, let's build this network of people who all have dogs and we'll all get together and have lots of fun and be there for each other. But what I was thinking in terms of an exercise, because I really want to get you guys involved, is why don't we run a social experiment?
Okay.
Let's see a social experiment. Okay, so here's the social experiment. This is obviously local to Toronto, Ontario, in Canada.
Represent.
Yeah. But I think this is, you guys have forged the way for other people to do the same things, because I work with a lot of dogs.
Yeah.
And I hear a lot of pain from dog owners. And one of the most common issues that I get from dog owners is they feel alone. They feel isolated.
Yeah. That's so, I don't know. I mean, I want to say it's so strange to me because I guess maybe in the living downtown Toronto, there's so many dogs. You're always meeting people at the park and stuff. But I understand, like, hey, if you live in the suburbs or further out, like, and there's not that many opportunities to make those interactions, like dog parks and things to go to, it can be kind of isolating. I can totally see that being true. Yeah,
for sure. And actually, you hit the nail right on the head. So it happens more often in suburbs because the density is so low. Right. I remember working with a dog in Georgetown, and he had dog-on-dog aggression issues. And so one of the exercises was, okay, well, let's practice walking by other dogs. We walk for 20 minutes. We can find another dog.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can walk 20 feet.
And be like, there's 10 dogs in the park right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's the social experiment. Whether you live in Georgetown or New York or Utah, Iceland, I have viewers in Thailand, like all over the world.
Thailand.
So whether you live in a tiny little community or a major metropolitan city, here's the social experiment. And I really don't know whether it's going to work, and that's why it's an experiment. So this could completely fail, and I could have egg all over my face. Or one of you could try this out.
Yeah.
So we need we need somebody who's watching this right now to say to themselves, I would love to not only have a social network for my dogs, but I would also really enjoy a social network for myself.
Yourself, yeah.
You know, to meet other dog lovers of, like you said, different backgrounds, different ages, I'm assuming.
Yeah, ranges,
like the whole 9 yards. And so if you were to give somebody advice, let's say you're off in Milton, Ontario, which for those that you don't know is a small suburb of Toronto, not too far away.
Yeah, like an hour-ish away.
Yeah, it's kind of out there. It's kind of like a dormitory. Like people don't really do much there, but live.
Yeah.
So let's say that somebody is living in suburbs. Forget about the name. What would your advice be in terms of setting up something similar to what you guys have?
I would say, the first step is actually finding the people, right? I feel like don't be afraid to go and say hi. Because I feel like a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm going to let him walk across the street, and just let the other dog walk by and not say hi. I would say be more outgoing and, introduce yourself. Like, not only get to know the dogs and let the dogs play with each other, but introduce yourself. Maybe talk about yourself and kind of get to know the other person, because that will naturally lead to, hey, let's have the dogs meet up again and maybe we can talk or something like that.
For sure. And if you want a tip, this is how I do it. I compliment something about that person's dog. And it's a genuine compliment because I'm a dog lover. So usually I'll walk up to somebody and be like, your dog is ridiculously cute. I'm almost offended.
Yeah.
Okay. Or how old is your is your dog, or like, you know, blah, 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 something like that. Like a question is a nice icebreaker.
Well, it's definitely a conversation starter.
Yeah.
For sure.
So finding the people, that's a really actually interesting challenge. So you guys didn't find each other on social media. You found each other in person first?
I found Mel. I think I found Mel in person first.
Okay.
So there was like a French Bulldog meetup at a Trinity Bellwoods just downtown. And I think Mel and Dawson were there taking pictures. And then I guess the dogs were playing. And so we were aware of each other at that point. And so we followed each other on social media.
All right.
And that was when like it was around his birthday party. And that's how kind of I got introduced to like Mel and a bunch of the other kind of current Six Pack members.
Right.
Yeah, so it was really an in-person meeting first at a park.
Okay, so it helps if you're a little extroverted.
It helps. It helps.
To get it going. So, so I'm trying to formulate, like, you know, if somebody is going to try and replicate this, what they're going to need in terms of like their toolbox in order to get this going. So if you're a little bit extroverted or you're comfortable, you know, approaching other dog lovers.
Yeah.
Hit some dog parks.
Hit some dog parks or like any kind of pet-friendly cafes or even streets. Like Queen Street is so pet-friendly. Like dogs can go into the stores and stuff like that. So even just any kind of dog-friendly area, just so you can meet other pups. And then strike up a conversation. And then, you know, if you guys get along and everything, like meet up again and then kind of try to grow from there. I think having social media will help as well, just because, you know, for us, it's a place where we organize.
It's
right?
where you can connect.
It's where we can connect and
like,
organize.
And, get everything.
And then get everything sorted out. And kind of dates and times where you can meet. So, I mean, first step, you know, meet the people. Kind of organize socially on social media or other platforms, like even like a Google Calendar or something like that. And then just stay connected, you know, like, keep engaging with each other and keeping that connection. Like even not just for the dogs, but for yourself as well.
I'm just thinking too, because there's Facebook groups that are localized as well.
Yep.
So for example, I know there's a Liberty Village group, which Liberty Village is a part of
little pocket downtown
Toronto. There's the so that group isn't dog focused, but it's a
People
local
focused,
group. Yeah. There's a Cherry Beach dog Facebook group. So there are existing. So let's say you live off in a suburb, there might already be a Facebook group or something like that.
Yeah.
For your particular area, or even just like neighbors and stuff.
And neighbors too, yeah. I mean, I think we know a lot of the dogs kind of like in our neighborhood, on our street and stuff like that. Again, I know all the dogs' names, but not the human names. Sure. Working on that. But yeah, like, I mean, even our neighbors are very kind of social and, you know, we'll take them for the afternoon if we're busy and things like that.
Oh, that's super cute. I always really encourage people when they're thinking about getting a dog, or if they do have a dog, to build some sort of support network so that you can live your life.
Yes.
I mean, I think a myth that people have is, if I get a dog, my life will be over. I can't travel. I can't go out. I can't go drinking. And that's just not the case.
Oh, yeah, no.
You just need to make some accommodations.
If anything, I've become more social after getting Horton because of the whole Six Pack group and just meeting other like-minded dog people. It's crazy. It's like, for me, I think it's completely the opposite.
Yeah, and that's the power, I think, of positivity when you're using social media for the right thing. So it's bringing people together
for sure.
Instead of, you know, doing this and arguing with each other about what food is right and the rest of it. And the reality is that every dog is different. And so some dogs might have, anyway, I'm not going to get into the whole food thing. I'm having a nutritionist on next week, so we'll talk all about that kind of stuff. This is the social experiment. Wherever you are, find some dogs. It could be a group of 3 dogs. It could be just, you know, 4 or 5, whatever. Start somewhere.
Somewhere.
Build a bit of a group and then connect on social media. So you guys use Instagram, which
use Instagram. Yeah.
I find Instagram is really handy for those kind of things. But whatever social media platform.
Yeah, like what even chat group like WhatsApp or like Telegram or like even like Facebook Messenger. You can use anything really, just somewhere that you can organize.
Yeah, so somewhere where you can organize, plan events, the rest of it. I think one of the aspects that you guys really nailed was having that group chat where you could talk about whatever, including personal things. So start with the dogs, obviously. Don't just go, oh my God, you know, I'm going through a nervous breakdown. He won't text me back and whatever.
It's been 3 days.
Yeah. So maybe start with the dogs and build your friendships from there. Yeah. And then the beautiful thing that happened with you guys organically is the social support group as well. Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, so that's the challenge, guys. I think you guys could even franchise it.
What?
No, I'm not kidding. Like, think about it. So you got the 416 6-pack or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the
Thai pack.
The Thai pack. The Thai pack, the 9 to 5 pack.
The 9 to 5 pack.
You know, whatever you want. But could you imagine if in every city,
every area code,
every town, whether you're a hamlet of 500 people or a city of 3 million, you have these little groups, even if it's just one group. So here's the challenge, guys. Here's the social experiment. Let's see if we can start one group out there, because the purpose of this channel and the purpose of this podcast is to help dogs. And I think if you can initiate one group of people to get together, to bring their dogs together once in a while,
form those bonds,
have some fun, provide some social support for each other, whether it's dog sitting or just listening to each other's problems. I think that is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And you guys should be totally congratulated for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful that I ran into Dawson and Mel at the park that day, because otherwise, I don't know where I would be without these guys. Like, it's daily chats and like weekend adventures and like photo ops and it's been so great. It's been so great the past couple months in this group.
So the challenge is out there. Erica out in Vancouver. Erica is a very social person. I'm calling you out, Erica. I am calling you out.
Erica
doesn't have a dog right now. Okay. But she's very thorough. She's super organized. She's massively smart. I think
sounds like the type of person.
And she lives in Vancouver, which is full of dogs.
Yep.
So if there's at least one person out there who wants to try this experiment, I think it would be a beautiful thing. And I would love to hear a story from somebody out there. So if you're going to take this challenge on, what I want you to do is comment below and say, I'm going to take on come up with something more elegant, Jen. Take on this social experiment. You know what I mean? And here's the thing: even if it doesn't work out, it's still a good thing to try.
Yeah, definitely. Just to even get out and meet some new people and let the dogs play.
Yeah, and I mean, it could be just as simple as that. It doesn't have to be the full blown.
Yeah, no.
You know, we're there for each other, and like, I think what you guys have done is above and beyond anybody's expectations of what some of the social groups can actually do. But it's something to aspire to, I think. So if you're out there and you're interested in taking this on, let's say you have some questions. Post the questions that you have in the comments, and we'll do our very best to answer those questions and to see if we can maybe provide a little bit of guidance if you're struggling.
But for sure.
The basics are pretty simple. Go out there, find some dogs and some people to connect with, create some sort of group on a social media platform, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or I don't even know all the other ones.
I don't know.
Just a place where you guys can get together
organize
online to organize and have some sort of an online chat. and then see where it goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you live in a small suburb or a big city, it's something I think that can work. And most importantly, it's something that the dogs will love. Like the dogs love it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they love getting like together and like playing. Like again, back to Dawson. Best friends. Like we literally can't do anything without them like rolling around on the floor. Like Dawson is such a gentle giant. He'll be on his back and Horton will be all over him, and then vice versa. It's just ridiculous how great they are together. And with other dogs too, obviously in the group. But those two are they just stick out because he's huge, he's tiny. They just wrestle. Yeah.
So it's really healthy for the dogs.
Yeah.
Really healthy for the people.
Mm-hmm.
Relieves stress, anxiety, support system. Guys, do I really need to go on and on about how amazing this idea is?
Get on it, everybody.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Now that we talked about it, like, don't you think this is something that more people should be doing or could benefit from?
Yeah.
If they did it?
For sure. I think so.
It would be relatively easy.
It's not even that hard to do. So I think it's just finding the right, like the right like-minded people that will be happy to engage in a, I guess, social experiment like this. Like all of us have Instagram accounts. That was also another thing that linked us together.
Yeah.
And so through talking about that, snowballed into other stuff. So it's finding people and like finding the people that kind of have the kind of same interests. I know it kind of sounds easy, but it's actually kind of hard to do, I guess. But
well, I mean, everybody who has a dog
already has
theoretically should be interested in dogs.
Yeah, and I think that's where we all kind of came from as well. So the dog Instagram account thing is where that came from. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where I think the diversity of your group also adds to its strength.
Yes, very diverse. There's a ton of different breeds and stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is really healthy for dogs to play with all different,
socialize with other,
all different sizes, all different ages, all different breeds, all different athletic abilities. Jen, thanks so much for coming by. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast too. More podcasts to come. If you have any guest suggestions or if you want to be on the podcast yourself, just leave a comment below. I really am encouraged by what we talked about today. I think a lot of people can really run with this idea, engage in this type of social experiment and help dogs, and not just help dogs, but help other people too.
Yeah, so for sure.
Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
Thanks for bringing your puppy Horton.
Yeah.
Till next time, if you love your dog, take them for a walk. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
You're my famous celebrity. Am I gonna get your paw print later on? Is that what you do to sign stuff?
Oh, you
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, all the kisses. Oh yeah.
It's because I smell like bacon. That's my secret. Yeah.
Hi. Today we're going to talk about social media. The dark side of social media, the positives of social media, the six-pack. Ridiculous, right?
No, it's awesome. I just can't keep a straight face. Let's try it again. There you go.
Yay!
Nailed it.